how you spend your time these days working for Magnus. So what is the split between openings, between some, I don't know, exercises for Magnus to keep him in shape? Can you share some info on that?
I haven't given Magnus any exercises for 10 years. I think he keeps in shape, but playing whatever tournament he feels like online or thinking about. I mean, he's watching a lot of stuff, so he will also think about that. So I think he keeps himself in shape like that. But well, you believe that there is some kind of structured training, which there is not. But, well, of course, if there is something that I find very interesting, I will, drop him a note on the chat platform we are using. Or I remember when suddenly neural network happening, I mean, AlphaZero and then Leela, there was a lot of new chess knowledge in terms of positional understanding would slightly change and such. And I would try to incorporate that to opening files. But this idea of, a lesson or even a camp doesn't exist much in that term. Probably difficult for others to copy that, but he seems to keep himself in shape by playing, I guess it's Title Tuesday, Freestyle Friday, or whatever they're called. Now there is a tournament on Wednesday. I'm not fully up to speed with what name that is and such. And it seems to work for him. And that's, the kind of coach I am is that I have worked for two players in my life, Vichy and Magnus, and I started to work for them when they were the best player in the world. So it's never been my job to help players improve or to try and do things differently unless they wanted to do differently. I'm working with players who is the best in the world, and I'm there in a supporting role to try and help them win some tournaments. With Vichy, we were doing some exercises and such, and I would have some database I bought from Doretsky with high-quality exercises, and that is great, but that has not been the focal point. I'm brought in to help people who is already extremely accomplished, talented, to win some titles, right? So I have not much experience with that. I'm not pushing them to do it. I mean, if Magnus would ask me to send exercises, I would do that, but he barely never has.
So no exercises, just opening work, or what else?
Generally opening work, right? I mean, well, he has a tournament or a game or whatever, and he expects that I will send an email with the ideas we have discussed, from a couple of minutes to a couple of hours before the game start, based on how serious the event is in a way. And then he might open the email, he might not, and that's more or less it in a way. I'm generally left very freely to look in certain directions, but of course, I've worked for him for 13 years and, fully for 13 years and know him from before. So I have an idea of his preferences. And of course, we will talk a little bit about what to do. World Championship matches, we would have a longer conversation, but longer conversation still counted in, 1-digit hours. We're not talking about a long process like that. So basically, he likes to stay outside of it and have options. And, it might sound weird to you, but for most World Championships games, I would not be fully sure which move he would play as white. We deliver him options. Typically, I think in recent matches he would play, I forgot with Caruana, he was basically playing e4, d4, and c4 in an equal ratio of 2 each. And with Nepom, I forgot fully how it ended, but a little bit similar in a way. I guess there was some knight f3, some d4, and some e4. And it's not that we have a coherent strategy. It's more that we provide Magnus with options and he chooses something. This ends up looking quite randomized. And I think Magnus said, partly joking, but again with some truth in it, that if I'm capable of surprising my seconds, most likely I'll also surprise my opponents. And I'm not sure that's the best strategy, but it's quite reasonable. I think also on the Rogan podcast, he sort of said that for quite some years we have actually rolled a dice before many games just to decide which opening. So, I will get the results of the dice rolls in the evenings, and the next day I will prepare some file for whatever stupid opening that is. And that has worked surprisingly well. And I think some players could be marginally helped by it, but of course it works very well with Magnus, who doesn't care so much about openings and can more or less play everything without being fully into details. But it keeps the opponent guessing. It also demotivates them a bit, because why should they prepare heavily if they understand that it's going to be a bit random what the opponent is doing? But also I think it fits into the modern Entian situation where you can make most openings quite playable, and it's not so much about deep surprise, sort of knowledge, but having some kind of knowledge these days. So it is pretty strange in that way. But well, again, I try to adapt to the needs of the player, especially because I've worked with the best players in the world, but also because chess is a very individual sport. It's important to understand that while I normally is the coach, it's not the coaching situation as in a football team. I mean, a football team, you will have Pep Guardiola telling world elite players, do this, do that. This is not how it works here. I mean, you are a second, so you will try to help implementing the wills and ideas of your player. But the one who is sort of mentally in charge, who takes decision, who is the CEO, is very much the player. I would assume that's the same in, say, tennis or golf, right? You have someone who will help you and give advice and do kind of the work you don't want to do yourself. But when it comes to decision times on strategy, is Djokovic not taking his own decision, or is he just doing what his coach says? I really assume that he believes he is the biggest expert and takes the decisions. But I have no clue, but I assume it's like that.